The Piastri saga gets more and more interesting with every day that passes by. After the Aussie rejected his guaranteed seat in Alpine, criticism came all over him. Many said his move was foolish and he should have signed with Alpine for the next season. The latest one to criticize Piastri for his decision is Otmar Szafnauer, the team principal of Alpine, as he expected him to choose differently when he was presented with the opportunity. Stay tuned as you might be surprised with what Otmar has to say. This drama started when Vettel announced his retirement from the sport at the end of the season, and Alonso surprisingly joined Aston Martin on a 2-year contract. The team was quick to announce that Piastri, their reserve driver and the youngster who won the championships in F3 and F2 under Alpine, is set to replace him in the upcoming season, pairing up with Ocon. However, Oscar Piastri has denied this on his Twitter profile, posting, "I understand that, without my agreement, Alpine F1 have put out a press release late this afternoon that I am driving for them next year. This is wrong and I have not signed a contract with Alpine for 2023. I will not be driving for Alpine next year." The move divided fans, with many praising him for leaving Alpine because they played with his emotions and couldn't secure him a spot in 2022, while others called him a fool and said that this would be the best opportunity he'd ever received in his career. According to Paul Di Resta, the only answer to Piastri's rejection of Alpine's guaranteed seat lies in him finding another spot in another team, such as McLaren or Williams. The latter one is less attractive than McLaren, so it's likely that the British team is working over the clock to acquire the youngster, but we'll get to that later in this video. Otmar Szafnauer, Alpine's team leader, was caught off guard by two surprises during the summer break. The first one was about the departure of Alonso, as he said that he found out about the Spaniard's departure from the media. Regarding why they couldn't work out a deal, Otmar said, "We offered a 1+1 deal, and we discussed with Fernando that, look, if next year at this time you're performing at the same level, of course we will take you. And that could have carried on. But I think he wanted more certainty, independent of performance. I want to stay for longer. And I think that was the crux of the going 1+1 as opposed to 2+1 or 3+1 or 3 years," said Otmar. The second surprise was the rejection of the 21-year-old Piastri, in whom the team had invested a lot regarding simulations and intel about the Alpine's F1 car. It must be excruciating for the entire Alpine team to see this going in a different direction. When asked about Piastri rejecting Alpine, Otmar said, "I think it's a question for Piastri, because I don't understand either. In our future, in the 100-race plan we're all working on, I think there is also room for Piastri, and we supported him. There should be some loyalty to the fact that we have invested literally millions and millions of euros to prepare him. So I don't understand it either. You should ask him," said Otmar. Many find this whole situation confusing, as Piastri is kind of linked legally with Alpine due to his reserve driver status, and he cannot just announce his departure to another team without Alpine's involvement. So Otmar has explained the whole situation regarding the deal that Alpine has with Piastri. "We have a contract with Piastri, which he signed in November. We have spoken with our lawyers and they told us that this is a binding contract, so part of that contract allows us to put Oscar in one of our cars in 2023, which is the reason we issued the press release. There is also an option for 2024 and the possibility for us to loan the driver to another team. We want Fernando with us for 1 more year and then a loan of Oscar for 2023. I've always said in all my press conferences that Piastri would be in Formula 1 in 2023, and it is because I knew he could be in our car or in another car on loan if Fernando had stayed." Therefore, Otmar has clearly clarified that Alpine was working on a deal to send Piastri to another team for the 2023 season so that he could gain experience and then replace Alonso in the upcoming years. One of these teams was Williams, but as a part of that deal, the British manufacturer was to take Renault's engines so that the deal could go on. Notice how the deal says, "in one of our teams," meaning that the team that Piastri would go in will have to carry Renault's engines. Szafnauer then continued to blast Piastri for his decision, saying that he has never seen anything like this. I expected more loyalty from Piastri. He should have it with that team that has taken care of him, that has taken him to the World Championship, and above all, that during the last year has put him in a Formula 1 car so that he would be ready, so that he would know the circuits. I expected more loyalty from Oscar than he is showing. I started in 1989 in Formula 1 and I've never seen anything like this. And it's not about Formula 1, it's about integrity as a human being. It could happen in ice hockey or soccer, it doesn't matter. But you don't do that. He signed a piece of paper, a document, saying he would do something different. Finished Otmar. Szafnauer has also spoken about loyalty and how he was raised, saying that he didn't need to sign a piece of paper to keep his word. As for Piastri, it's safe to say that Otmar is holding a grudge against the youngster, who is managed by the ex-Formula 1 driver Mark Webber, who is also from Australia. But is Oscar to blame after his decision? The truth is that Alpine has juggled with their available options as they've missed the deadline to sign Piastri until 31st of July this year. Since they did that, Piastri is eligible to look for another seat, and although we still aren't sure which seat in F1 that would be, everything is pointing towards McLaren. Alpine expected that Alonso would continue his deal, and when that didn't happen, they seemed to look at Piastri and blame it on him. True, they've invested a lot in him, but that is supposed to prepare him for Formula 1 as soon as possible, and since the team missed the deadline, Piastri could have felt like he was getting the cold shoulder from the team. Regarding the available place in Alpine now, Otmar said that there is a huge interest for it and he isn't worried about the driver that will sit there next. As he said, if Piastri is not in the car, which I think he is going to be because Fernando's out, I have about 14 phone calls from drivers who are interested because the Alpine seat is the most valuable seat left. We have to take into account that last year we put him in a single-seater and he did 3,500 kilometers. We have done 7 independent tests with him, and this is not cheap at all. The cost of an engine alone is 1.75 million euros. The mechanics, the team that managed those tests, the flights and travel. We have spent lots and lots of money on Piastri to prepare him for the future. And if that future is not with us, it is logical and fair that we seek compensation. Finished Otmar, hinting that Alpine wouldn't just let go if Oscar decides to join another team. Speaking of which, rumors have emerged about Piastri signing a deal with McLaren and that the contract has already been sent to the FIA for validation. Other rumors have also emerged about Ricciardo being notified to seek another team as McLaren is looking to buy out his contract to bring in Piastri in his place. It seems like the older Aussie hasn't been able to figure it out in McLaren, which is why the team is losing 4th place in the championship and is looking for a massive improvement in this sector. Ricciardo could return to Alpine after a 2-year stint in 2019 and 2020, bringing podium finishes like he did in those 2 years. As for Piastri and Alpine, it seems like the saga will become a legal matter if Piastri isn't in Alpine's seat for the next season. It seems like we're in for an intense season. Check out the next video here. Take care and drive safely.